Thank you very much, Lynette. Jan King is the owner of a management consulting practice. She is also the author of Business Plans to Game Plans, a practical system for turning strategies into action. Welcome to Making It, Jan. Good to have you with us today.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's get right to it. What's the difference? Business plan, game plan?
A business plan is a very formal kind of document that's usually used for investors or by lenders or people looking for money from lenders. A game plan, on the other hand, is a much more informal kind of document used by the business owner in order to really inform himself, his employees, about what their goals are, what their strategies are, something hopefully they keep with them every single day, they look at all the time, and they use to measure their progress.
So it's important to understand that they are not the same thing. They're distinctly different.
They are distinctly different.
If you're an aspiring business owner and you're ready to get a game plan together and start your new venture, what's the very first thing you need to do?
The first thing you need to do is set some clear, short, kind of sharp goals get in mind for you what you're looking for to do with your business. So in other words, you might set goals such as sales for the quarter, when you want to open a second location, how many employees you hope to have at the end of the year, what your net profits are, something easy, something that makes sense to you, isn't necessarily something the financial people would come up with, but something that's going to make sense for you and something that's going to drive your decision making in the business.
Got to be realistic too.
Right, exactly right.
What types of expectations should new business owners set when they're first getting started?
I think it's really important for new business owners to set very high expectations for themselves and for their business and for their employees.
You mean higher than is realistic? Or?
It's really hard to judge what's realistic when you're opening a new business, but I think the thing that can damage businesses is to set low expectations. They get very concerned they won't be able to meet certain standards. They maybe let their quality, they assume maybe their quality standards are too high and they can't meet those. So if you set high standards, if you're in a restaurant, whatever kind of business you're in, setting high standards is very important for the people who are going to be making those decisions day to day.
Famous man once said, always make sure your reach exceeds your grasp.
That's exactly right.
What types of expectations should new business owners set when they're first getting started? It's got to be hard.
I think it is hard to set realistic kinds of expectations, but again, I think it's important to, most business owners know their craft and they have some sense of what is realistic in the business. Important, though, to set the kind of quality standards that they know is going to last them through the life of the business. Okay.
Now, your book, Business Plans to Game Plans, and I think we have a graphic of it here, there it is, can be used as a kind of guide for people who are on their way to success. What is the best way to use the book?
The book is not necessarily intended to be used, read through straightforward. You can use it on whatever segment of the business you're working on. For instance, it's divided into the segments that you find in a normal business, operations, HR, management, marketing, sales, that sort of thing. And it has usually 5 or 6 worksheets per segment so that the business owner can go to the segment that they're interested in working on. If they're having a marketing difficulty, they can use the real numbers that they're appearing in their business in the worksheets. And then there are usually several hundred questions altogether they can ask themselves about what they see when they're looking at the numbers that the worksheets produce.
So you don't necessarily have to begin with chapter 1, verse 1.
No, in fact, I would recommend they didn't do that because there are some aspects of the business that are going to be important to some business owners and not so much to others.
Okay, Jan. Now, you mentioned that financial benchmarks are very important. How are they helpful and how often should somebody revise them?
Financial benchmarks are important, but I think what's key for a business owner is not to take the financial statements or the work that the accountant produces and try to set their own standards by those. They need to come up with their own key indicators, things that make sense for their business. So if a business is a product-based business, they might want to gauge number of returns, how many new customers they have, some benchmarks, and maybe 5 or 10 of them that make sense for that business, and ignore all the other data. Just focus in on how well they're doing with that, and particularly how the trends are looking. Are the trends up? Are they down? And they need to be revised as often as the business substantially changes. Okay,
now, Jan, what do you do if you're in a quandary? If you're not meeting your expected goals, what should you do?
I think it's really important for a business owner to get some reality and know when they're not meeting their goals. And when they're not meeting their goals, to face that reality head on and really take some action. I think procrastination is one of the key problems small businesses have. They're hoping the market will change. They're hoping they'll get this new customer. But you can't wait around. You have to take some immediate action and end the procrastination.
Don't just sit there, do something.
That's it.
Thank you very much, Jan. Good advice.
Thank you.
Going to tell you how to get in touch with Jan B. King right after this break here on Making It. Stay with us.